My pregnant wife, he says, 11-month-old son, and I have a loving church community here in South Carolina, far better than our homeland of Maryland in doctrine and practice. All services have closed communion, closed in the confession anyway, every Saturday and twice Sunday. The pastor makes salient commentary, not nearly as strongly as you. Well, thank you, but it's probably good enough, right? Pulling from the readings, and we were only locked down for 2 weeks among other things. It is not perfect, but is it enough? Yeah, it sounds like you got what a lot of people wish they had. Should I keep running or make St. Paul's in Rockford here? I like that question. Should I keep running? No is usually the answer to that. If you're going to go somewhere, don't run. Walk. Second, make St. Paul's Rockford here. Yes. Mm-hmm. Like, if that can be done, why would you leave? The reason to leave is because there is no path to that, right? And don't put St. Paul Rockford up on a platter here either, right, or a pedestal. That's the dilemma, he says. He says, my job allows me to work from home 4 days a week, and my wife is free to stay home. See, that's a bonus. Coffee breaks to change a soiled diaper are great. God bless your heart. However, I do feel guilt in 5 directions. Frisbee goes, just 5? Very, very specific. I must attend to my 40-hour plus work week. It's a long work week. Mm-hmm. I must be the Pendragon, the patriarch, until I find a superior, as you encourage. That's right. So you got to lead where you are. But it's not just about, like, until you find a superior. It's like there's going to be times where there is a superior. There's going to be times where there's not. So you always will have to be ready to step into the role. Mm-hmm. And I must engage the governing bodies, church and state. All the while, there's cleaning around the house and yard maintenance to be done. The Herculean strength required, as you put it, is for real. Kevin. So, all right. Here's my first thing. Whatever you're running from is going to be here in Rockford when you get here. Mm. That's the first thing. So the grass is greener issue, there really is greener grass sometimes. It actually does exist in places. You might be right. My neighbor's grass is greener. He uses Miracle Grow. And so I can use Miracle Grow. And then we all get cancer, right? There is a time when you need to make a change. But a lot of times, especially if you use language like running, what you're running from is actually you. Until you are content where you are, you're not going to be content where you're going. That doesn't mean you still shouldn't go somewhere. Like, there's a time to still go somewhere, right? But the secret of contentment is far more valuable. And so it sounds like to me that's what you should actually have as your goal right now. Your goal should not be moving to Rockford, right? Everyone in the world, you're welcome. You're welcome. But I don't think your goal should be that. I think your goal should be to make a stand where you are and to get to the point where you are absolutely comfortable with that. And then, if that just can't happen, maybe you're being driven out, But it sounds like you have a lot of what you need there. The only thing I didn't hear you mention was like an active men's group at church, right? So you're like, well, when do I do all this stuff? Yeah, I know, when you do all this stuff. So maybe now's not the time to even start an active men's group at church. Maybe the time's just to do your yard work and like be glad that you have a yard. Make sure you still can pay your taxes and keep your yard. Mm-hmm. If it's like, well, but the next door neighbor's got a certain kind of flag and soon they plan to kill us all, well then, yeah, maybe you need to move. But you're probably not there in South Carolina. That's a nice state. You got a lot of Second Amendment freedom support in that state, right? So it shouldn't be falling apart too bad, right? I know the cities are often different than the country. But it sounds to me like your real need is to come to terms with being okay, period, before you try to find some place to make you okay. And then you will have a better objectivity to know. We're like, no, I really don't need this place. That place looks good. There's nothing wrong with that. But to go to some other place as if it's going to fix it, it's not going to help us or you, honestly, at all. And you're just going to end up bringing your own struggle with you, and it will haunt you. And then, especially if your wife doesn't want to come, it'll really get worse at that point. And again, so then leaving the family to be here when she doesn't want you, I mean, bad idea across the board, I would say. Instead, what you want to do is be the leader in the home where you are, make the stand where you are, see the vocation God has given you as you are, come to contentment and peace with a less than perfect reality in which you nonetheless are able to feed your family, and then devote yourself to being a man who speaks the scriptures within your family. Read the Bible at night, at dinner, open it up, just do it. It's hard, I know. You get all the pressure to do it right or not do it right, or not enough time and we're tired, and there's always an excuse. But do it anyway. And you get down and you're like, oh, it wasn't enough. It doesn't matter. You read the Bible. You read the Bible at the dinner table. You know how many people are doing that? Not enough Lutherans. Not enough Lutherans. Maybe a few Baptists. I think they're shrinking too, though.
As I listen to Kevin's story, I am recognizing that there is this new phenomenon that's kind of facing us all in our country, and I think it's kind of across the globe, where the worker is home.
Isn't that weird? As long as the electricity stays on, it'll be fine.
Yeah. And that puts a whole new kind of stress on relationships.
Yes.
Because where once I had kind of leadership over a domain for a certain time, now I no longer do. For example, as a stay-at-home mother.
When I started being home
and a wife, yes. Yeah. So the kids could have been more wild all day long.
Right.
And now it has to be quiet and strict the way it was previously from dinner time until bedtime, which is a natural wind down time.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of fathers wanting to do their work on the kitchen table or the dining room table, and demanding that the home be quiet around them, but they want to do it out there so they can be with everybody. And I see that, I see the desire, I see the beauty in that, but I also see just a lack of understanding of what the home that is being provided by this work is for. Now, also though, we don't have a ton of women. It hasn't been the push of the culture for women to stay home either. So, I mean, it sounds like, Kevin's wife is able to stay home. And so that's a blessing and a gift. And how long in their relationship or her time as a mother, she's a new mother and then a new mother of two now. How long has he been home? Has it been the whole time? I don't know. These are just some different questions and observations that are kind of going through my head.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the whole the space issue and the man who does information work, which is what at-home online work will be. I mean, unless he's in his wood shop making cabinets, right? It's going to be online. It needs a certain level of going in the matrix cube, hide from the world while being present reality. And ultimately, that's not going to jive well with preschool, right? And so I think maybe the biggest insight here is that most people just haven't thought about that.
Okay.
Right? That there is, we're like, oh, I'll just stay home. Most guys are like, oh, I'll just stay home. And then it'll be the way I want it to be. No one's thought that it won't be, it can't be. I cannot make the 3-year-old not throw a fit. No matter how, I can yell at him and really scar him.
Make it worse.
Yeah, right. It's not going to solve the problem. And so, the idea of being present, but then there's this real desire, and then honestly, a great deal of guilt that weirdly, it's the media that has made fathers feel guilty for not being present. There's lots of messages in the media about how you're not a good enough father.
Sure.
Plenty of those messages. And so there's this like, well, now I'm going to go be the good enough father, but I have to make the living at the same time. So we're trying to achieve something that's in some ways not possible. And that's I think the key insight
right.
there.
And to speak to that as well, I mean, I hear him talk about his coffee break is used for changing the diaper. Well, why is his wife not changing the diaper?
'cause he
And why
wants to.
isn't the coffee break used to support her emotionally?
Because fathers have been told that if they don't go do these things, they're not good fathers. There's this idea that if I don't take the woman's job, I'm not a good man. Isn't that weird? Did he just say changing the diaper is her job? Well, naturally, she wants to do it more than I do. It's strange that a lot of men, though, do now want to have that role. And there's something good about, like, I want to be present in my infant child's life, right?
And I'm not saying don't.
Yeah.
But I guess I feel like if there's a desire for him to leave, to establish a new routine, I'm sensing tension between the husband and wife.
Sure.
Like, I don't think you would have wanted to leave when we had little kids to start something new. It would be like, okay, let's all leave together. We're going to all do it.
Yeah.
And so he never said anything, so I don't want to offend you, Kevin, by assuming, but I'm thinking, I think that there's a lot of overwhelm that you're feeling maybe from your wife who has a 1-year-old and is expecting again.
Right.
She's tired and crying probably a lot because she's tired and really needs you to understand.
She needs you
just
to be
listen.
stable, to be stable. And it sounds like you're destabilized. And the feelings of overwhelm that you're having, again, this came up in the first time he asked the question, and it wasn't in this question, but like, turn it off. So you work on the computer all day? All right, then you're done.
Yeah.
You don't need it anymore.
Just sit. Talk on the couch.
Or it's
Go
too
for
loud.
a walk.
Go for a walk. Read a book. Sit outside.
But I'm saying with your wife, I just think that maybe what's happening is there's a little bit of a disconnect in that core relationship, that family relationship that you two have created. And once you can foster that for a little bit longer, you'll notice that the contentment will just ooze out to other places in life.
I think what's super, super, super important there is that like your primary vocation is to maintain your relationship with her for the sake of them. And so whatever else you think you need to do, if it's not going to do that, you don't need to do it. It's a temptation. And so in the moment that the job and the location is what's ruining your relationship with your wife, if that's what's happening,
right?
Then you need to deal with that. But it sounds to me like what you think you need to do would actually be something that would ruin your relationship with your wife. And so it's like, no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Figure out where you are. And as in your language, do I try to make a place like St. Paul where you are? Well, you don't know what St. Paul's like at all. You haven't been here, which is why if I think you came here, you'd still be disappointed. But yes, should you make your local church the best local church it can be? Yes, absolutely. That's, in fact, what we're advocating everywhere. Brief History of Power as well. This is what men need to wake up and do. One of the best ways to do that, again, is to have a men's group that meets to talk about the Bible. And if the pastor can't make it, it's not a conventicle unless you try to undermine the pastor. So just getting together, eating, and then caring about what the Bible says, reading it out loud together. If you got nobody, if it's just full of ignorance, then that's a problem. But the Psalms, they're gonna form you. It's not like go around and everyone say what they think, but just read it out loud together, and then sing some hymns together.